All right, and welcome back to On the Fly Podcast, a Financial Literacy Institute podcast. Whew, tonight we got a special guest. It's going to be awesome. I think we're going to take a little different twist tonight. I don't want to spoil anything. Don't want to spoil anything, but I think we have a really unique guest tonight. But before we get into anything, I want to kind of go around, do a roundtable, kind of how's everybody's days going? What are they up to? And then maybe we can hold the guest for a second. We'll tap into Sean, tap into Zach, tap into I, and then I'll introduce our guest, and then we can kind of hear how our guest day is going. Does that sound good?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, Sean, how you doing?
Hey, life is good. My week has been busier than I expected, but we're making a lot of progress, getting a lot of stuff done. Like Zach and Yank, I talked to you, kind of got a little project that I'm kicking off, and had a meeting for that before this, and we're making progress. So it's gonna be something I've never done before, but no, life is good. Cannot complain.
Man,
Awesome.
I'm interested. I remember you talking about that, and maybe FLI can hop into that too. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be super sick. So I'm excited to see what the progress of that is. But yeah, Zach, what you got going on?
I just got back from my honeymoon. I just got
Yeah.
married and then went to Mexico. Luckiest guy in the world. I
There you go.
married a beautiful woman. I couldn't be luckier. And it's also a good day because High Ground Coffee Co. That I started with my new wife. We just kicked off our first product on Amazon. So
Yeah.
been a long time in the making, and hopefully there's more to come.
Yeah.
Hoping it'll be a hit this Christmas. So it's a good
Yeah,
time.
and it's awesome. We already saw Sean was one of your first purchasers. That's super cool.
Yes,
But
he
yeah, no,
was.
I'm
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see all the content that's going to come out of that. Whether it's with that business as well as kind of coinciding that with FLI and even teaching other people that with their FAC program, right? With our FAC program,
Exactly.
so it's gonna be awesome. But yeah, in terms of my week, I've been just chilling. Just wrapping up school here. My second to last semester, I should say. It's the week before finals, so just been grinding out. Today, I didn't have any classes. Like one of my last regular classes got canceled today, so I've been just chilling, just grinding out FLI stuff the whole day, and I've been having fun doing so. So I'm excited for winter break when I have really good time to really just tap into it. No distractions, just really just grind. So I'm excited. But I mean, that's enough about us. It's not about us tonight. It's about our guest. So I'm just going to say his name, Pham. Awesome guy. It's really cool because I met him at the Miami experience for the Standard. Again, we've talked about the Standard multiple times on this podcast, so a lot of our listeners probably know of it. But just meeting Ty and his energy, I just love how he's a go-getter. But one of the biggest things is just like he is himself, right? He says, hey, this is where I admit my faults, but also here, this is what I'm proud that I've done before, right? And I love that radical accountability. We talk about that all the time. I love talking about radical accountability. And Ty is one of those individuals. He's absolutely accountable with not only the people he works around and the people he works with, but also himself, right? So I love your content, Ty. Again, we're going to be talking about your content in terms of fitness, and again, as much as you want to go into in your real estate. But I just think that the way that fitness and finance are very much correlated, I think that's really, I'm curious to really kind of tap into that. But before we do any of that, again, I know you very well. Zach and Sean know you now a little bit surface level, but for our guests, for our listeners, can you kind of give a little high level overview who you are, what you do, and what kind of Thai fans all about?
Yeah, for sure. Well, Sean, Zach, Yinka, thank you for having me here. I'm excited and I'm fired up, man. It's been a busy day and I was just looking forward to this episode with y'all and just
That's
having a
awesome.
conversation. So a little background with me, I'll do like a Uber pitch.
Okay.
What do you do? I am a coach for Asian American guys. That's my primary goal. That's my purpose. And I recently just got into real estate development. So I put coaching aside to really focus with my mentor and my brother. So it's a family business. We're learning to literally build houses from the ground up. So went from a stay-at-home office job coaching guys on the call. Now I'm using a hammer, a screwdriver, and I'm actually doing the hard work, the hard labor. So props
A little
to
bit different,
everybody
yeah.
who's doing that. It's totally different.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about me. In terms of my business, I love fitness. Love fitness. That's my passion. Rock climbing, breakdancing for 10 years, working out for 12 years. Yeah, that's the whole gist. And we can definitely get into like the development of like who I am and how I got to where I am today.
Oh, it's gonna be good. It's so funny you just said breakdancing, because when you said that, the memory that popped in my head was, again, Miami on the yacht. You were in the middle of the dance floor, and I'm like, again, this is the first night I met this guy. It was literally the first night, right? It was Friday, and I'm like, this guy, he's got style, he's got swagger, he can talk to anybody, and he can dance. Who is this guy, right? Ty, bro, and you know exactly the moment we're talking about. You got in the middle of the dance floor, you were doing your thing. I don't even know what the dance moves are called, but I'm like, this guy is unique. I love this guy, man. And I even, again, some of the gems you even dropped as well in terms of the business, we actually implemented that. I know we talked a little bit about the our program, but I know it wasn't as elevated that it is now in our current state. But I remember bringing it up to you in Miami, and you kind of just dropped so many gems. So you were just a man of value. You can dance, you can socialize. Like you're just really awesome, and I just want to give your flowers for that. So I appreciate you. And I appreciate your time hopping on today. But yeah, I mean, in terms of our first topic, I mean. Again, you're a big fitness guy. I've been seeing the Instagram stories. I've been seeing the Instagram posts, the reels, and just the surface level. Like, talk about what got you into fitness. I've seen even some of your transformation videos. Like you started, I mean, I guess I don't know fully when you started, but you were at a certain point that maybe you just like, okay, hold on, I need to change. There's some sort of catalyst that happened in my life. I need to make a change. And then clearly it made such a big impact that you took it into like a business route, right? So really in terms of the fitness, I think that's the first place I'd love to start. What kind of got you into that? And also too, like what was that point that like, wait, hold on, I want to take this now from maybe a hobby to the next level and start training people in my community, my Asian community? Like, what was that?
Yeah, I think like any guy, we want to get into our greatest shape for women. That was for me. I wanted to attract my crush for ever since middle school. So I started training in sophomore year, and I liked this girl since middle school for a few years. I got friend zoned, okay. But I started loving training. I wanted to see how I can transform my body. I saw results. I got the newbie gains, and I felt the confidence. I felt empowered just a little bit. Still small compared to everybody else. And I got the validation from so many other people saying, "Oh my God, you look great. You look totally different." And you see the transformation from 125 pounds to 135 pounds to even dancing. Like we didn't even get to dancing. Dancing really helped me with my own confidence. So it kind of
Mm,
evolved from working out, building muscle, getting lean, and then trying out breakdancing. So I kind of combined the two. I was training and I was
yeah,
dancing. I was learning the whole gist of everything.
yeah.
And from there, I felt, okay, I feel a little bit different. I feel a little bit
Hmm.
different. I came from a introverted background where I didn't socialize that much. I didn't go out. I still don't go out to this day very much compared
Hmm.
to before. It's a lot better,
Hmm.
but yourself out there. All right, you're on your dance floor. You saw me on the yacht. I was there in the middle of the dance floor, and
Killing it.
that killing it, right? Yeah, thank you, bro. And that really empowered me to be myself because dance in itself really empowered me to let loose, do whatever I want to do without judgments. Like if I did something whack, it's okay. It's all good, And I competed, I trained. I mean, I put
Hmm.
blood, sweat, and tears into this. I built a
Yeah,
community out of this with my friends, and even the
yeah.
people around Seattle. They respect me as well. And going from being introverted to being a little
Mm,
bit more confident,
that's
I'm
good.
like, okay, let's get into something serious. I love this.
Yeah.
So I started doing my own research. I started at 24-hour fitness. And I
Hmm.
was like, hey, this is my dream job. This is my dream job. I got my degree because my parents wanted me to. But I'm like, hey, I'm going to do my own thing and do personal training. Thought it was the best thing of my life.
Hmm.
Found out I didn't like it because I had to do sales. I was, you know, micromanaged. I ended up making the most money during the summertime, which is the hardest time to make money because everyone's on vacation. And
Mm,
within 3 months of working, I'm like, nah, this is not for me. I saw an ad on Facebook, and it was an Asian guy, okay, Asian guy from Australia, and
okay.
he pitched the idea of creating your own business, making $5,000 to $10,000 in a month in your first 9 days. I'm like,
Oh wow.
why not?
Yeah.
So I jumped on. I got on a sales call. They said, hey, this is going to be X amount of money, and we can get into like the financing of all that and all the hardships. But got into that, got into mentorship, and that was really the first moment where I said, I need a mentor. I need some help.
Mm,
So I learned everything about marketing, business, KPIs, budgeting,
Mm-hmm.
investing, and then now we're here. Now I'm the founder of Asian Boss Boy, which is my baby, where I'm helping
That's awesome.
guys like me, who are introverted, shy, but also want to be confident and put
Yeah.
themselves out there. So that's my journey from training myself to
Yeah.
training other clients.
Wow. You know, and I think the biggest, and that's such an amazing story, and I'm glad now I have more background on that, and we can talk way more about that even off camera in the future. But I think one of the biggest things that stuck out to me is you started with, I found a lot of confidence in myself through dancing and through fitness. And that even ran the memory through me of like when I love telling people, I love, focusing on, I like to call them the 5S. I might have shared them with Sean and Zach in the past, be it in this order: faith, fitness. Well, I can do it like this: faith, fitness, faith, fitness, finance, fashion. When these four in order, as a man, females or the women, they're inevitable, right? That's a whole other conversation. What I'm talking about is out of those 5Fs, where did I get the most confidence from? It was finance, right? I started diving deep into it, taking my own time, not getting paid for, just enjoying it. And now look where I am today. Like, we created a business throughout that space that generated confidence in me, right? So the reason I bring that up is somewhat similar to your story, where you created a space, or you're in a space of confidence that was your fitness, and now you're in a space of a business throughout that confidence that it built you. And I think that's awesome. I think that's really cool. And I think for a lot of people, that's probably a story. At least maybe the first business is maybe they're super confident in something like Sean with cars, right? You're an auto detailer. He loves cars, right? So he probably built some confidence in that area, as well as Zach and his 3D printing, right? There's so many interesting, maybe kind of spaces that we gain confidence from. Like, for example, Zach must have been killing it in SolidWorks back in the day at UA, at University of Akron. So he's like, okay, hold on a second. I got confidence from this. Maybe I can take this into the business, right? And there's several more examples. I know all of us, we have different businesses. But what I am saying is that I love that you got from that space of, hold on, I enjoy this. I've gotten confidence out of this, and now I want to take this next level and hopefully give other people that confidence. So I absolutely love it. And again, that really does align with the mission of what we're doing here with FLI. So I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, man, for sure. It's and I've reflected this a lot, is because confidence is very vague, right? I believe that I have power now. Like, not power in terms of tyranny or like destruction, but like power to,
Right.
I have a responsibility to uphold, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's
have
deep.
my head up high, shoulders back, like, man, I'm that man, you know?
Yeah.
So, and this is for me. This is not for anybody else. This is for
Yeah.
me and for Sean, Zachary, Yinka. This is for you guys. This is like the energy that I present for myself, that I show up and be present. I want to give this to you guys and to everybody else.
And I think too, like, confidence stems from competence. And that's like the big thing that popped into my head when you were saying that. But it's very simple, because you spent the time and the effort to get into fitness and figure that out. And then as you gain competence in it, your confidence grows. But the other cool thing about that too is we often hear people, whether they're gurus or mentors or famous people online, that are talking about, you need to do this, this, and this to be successful. And it oftentimes, I feel like health gets kind of pushed to the wayside. And we get so busy, we realize, like, okay, we have to kick something out of our life. And health is always the one that gets dropped out. But another thing that pops in my head is, like, health is wealth. And if you're not healthy, then no matter how wealthy you are, and no matter how great of relationships you are, and how great your businesses are running, your life is, if you don't have your health, you're not going to be around long enough to experience that. And I feel like that's a fundamental problem that we have just in our generation and in society altogether. It's like, I feel like fitness just isn't as much of a focus as it should be.
Yeah, 100%. And you mentioned a good point, where health is wealth. And I didn't realize this until I had an actual problem. I had some gut issues. It ruined me. I couldn't eat. I was bloated, and I couldn't run my business, and I had to take care of myself. So, and when you're not well, you got to take care of yourself. That's the only thing that you think of. It's like, I got to be 100%. I just want to be normal. So you make a great point, Sean. Is like, we got to prioritize health, not just in terms of looking good. I think now social media thinks healthy means aesthetics. Gotta get a six pack, gotta have muscles, gotta have all these things, gotta do the handstands. Like, that's fitness. But health is longevity.
Absolutely. So there's a balance between, maybe chasing numbers, seeing how many plates you can stack on your bench and working out for longevity. Health is wealth. And if you don't have your health, you don't have anything at all. So, Ty, I think listeners and a lot of people in general might be in a situation similar to one you were in, where maybe they have a day job or a lifeline, a main income, kind of like the one you had. And like you, they may not want to do that forever, but they have a lot of ideas, passion projects, business ideas that they would want to go through with. How did you make the transition from kind of that day job, that lifeline, to moving into your passion projects and what you want to do? And what process did you use to get through that?
Oh, I love this because this is a big story of mine. This is the come up, right? This is where, and
Let's hear it.
I'll preface this because I was very privileged. My family came from nothing. Fled from Vietnam to come here to have a better life, and they had nothing. $100, maybe one suitcase for 7 kids, and my parents were lucky enough to create wealth for themselves, create wealth so that my family, me and my brother, we don't have to suffer. And from there, I never knew struggle. So it was very easy. Just go to school, get a degree, and hopefully get a good job. But when it comes to passion, I think that's a big thing that I really want to hammer into this is if you love to do something, you'll go all in. So when it came to quitting my day job and finding that ad, the cost of the program was $6,000. As a 24-year-old working at 24-hour fitness, earning $12 an hour, I had nothing. I had nothing. So I had to make a decision. And this isn't the smartest, especially since we're on a finance podcast, right? um, I took a day to think about it. It's like I don't have $6,000. I don't even have $1,000 in my bank account. But I want to do this. I really want to do this. I did not like my management at 24 Hour Fitness. I didn't like the people that I was coaching, respectfully. I wanted to coach people that I want to help, not just teenagers, women who want bigger butts. That's not my thing. I wanted to help people that I really truly want to help. So what I did was I got my Chase Sapphire card and let's go, let's do it, all in, you know. And that's my attitude. I'm on fire when I want to do something. I'm very instinctual and impulsive sometimes. So I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it happen. Didn't tell my parents. Didn't tell anybody. I'm gonna do this for me. And yeah, $6,000 into mentorship changed my life.
So
I've
Ty, can
learned a
you
lot. Yeah.
elaborate? The $6,000 was going towards the mentorship, or what was the program that you were moving into?
Yeah, it was a mentorship. It's called the 1%. I actually have it tattooed on my wrist. It's called the 1%. So this program was meant to help me earn $5,000 to $10,000 within my first 9 days, and it was all exclusive. You learn about marketing. You learn about your offer. You learn about how to pitch. I learned everything. I couldn't even have a conversation just with you guys and be on camera. I was so shy at that time. Like I had to learn to do that. It was a skill that I had to build. So not only was it to help my business, but it was really a men's improvement kind of group that you didn't realize until you were in it, and you had to transform your identity to be that person. Everybody who sees these ads saying, "Hey, I want to make $5,000 to $10,000 in 90 days," they think it's easy. I was the same way. Quit my job and I'm gonna make $10,000 in 90 days. Hell yeah! And it was a lot of hard work because I didn't know marketing. I didn't know sales. I didn't know how to do cold calls. I didn't know how to do any of this. So did that, and anybody who's going to start a business, you are going to fail. I failed 3 times. I failed 3 times before I've launched Asian Boss Boy. The first time I failed was creating a group for gamers. I was an avid gamer at the time, and I tried to market to gamers. Got a lot of people on the call. Couldn't really nail a sale consistently. $200 here, $300 here, but I was still in the red. And then fast forward, shut that down. It was a great niche, but it wasn't profitable for me. I couldn't do it. I didn't know why, and I know now. But fast forward to helping ex athletic dads, failed that as well.
Mm.
I had long hair at the time. I'm Asian. I don't have kids, so I don't know how to relate to them. So
Mm.
I got hate comments on my Facebook ads, and I was like, I got numb to it. I got used to it because that's the nature of it.
Yeah.
So shut that down. And here's the thing: I was 20K in debt.
Mm.
20K in debt. Spend thousands of mentorship, thousands on Facebook ads. I was struggling.
Mhm.
Yeah. My parents didn't know. I didn't want to tell them, because
Mm.
privilege. So
Mhm.
what I did was I had to go back and work at a restaurant job, a full restaurant job. All right.
Mm.
$10 an hour, slaving away. And when the pandemic happened, I couldn't work at a restaurant. So I did DoorDash.
Mm.
And then I had an opportunity where my friend, who was also part of the mentorship, he launched his own business. And I set appointments for him. And then from there, I gained the capital back, paid off all my debt, and I was like, I think I have the confidence to go back and do coaching again. But I'm going to do this for real. I'm going to do this
Mm.
with all my heart, where I want to help other people like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I did. And fast forward 1 year into coaching, I'm happy as it can be. And now I'm trying to scale.
Yeah. Man. No, that and I'm so much appreciative of you, Ty, for going into that story because there's so much like there's so many layers to that. And we again, you just told us, but I could only imagine like living through that. But I think that taught you so much. And again, I just genuinely believe that the theme right now is confidence. And I love that because going through again, like you said, the hardships, you said that like 10 minutes ago, the hardships that brought the confidence out of you that when this opportunity comes around again, it's like, okay, I'm gonna go all in this time. And that's a quality you said you had, right? Because it's funny you're talking about all this. There was like a part in this last summer of my life that I was like, hold on, because I feel like 2022 for me was very much my fitness journey. And I was finding so much passion in it. I was grinding at it. I enjoyed the progress and the success in the area. I was like, hold on a second. I could see myself not necessarily going and training people, but I'm like, hold on, I can maybe just give the little knowledge I know to other people who maybe have no knowledge and maybe reap some sort of benefit out of this. So mind you, I'm very much I had some free time over the summer since it was summertime, and I almost embarked on a journey where it was somewhat similar, where there was initial like pay in for like it's like some sort of fitness mentorship of almost like $8,000, right? And then essentially you get into this and they'll give you the whole program that you teach yourself, you do it yourself, and then you start teaching other people, and then yeah, some sort of guarantee of X amount of dollars per month that easily within 1 or 2 months you make the 8,000 back, right? But I think I'm not saying that those programs aren't true because clearly they are, but it's only as true if you're willing to put in that kind of work. And I think those kind of programs, they might target a lot of people, but there's probably a fraction, less than a fraction, are the real people who are actually able to put in that kind of work to reap that kind of result. But they're still, what they are saying is that it's possible, but not many people know how much work actually goes into that, right? So it's very interesting that maybe the first time around, it didn't exactly work out for you. But the second time around, it's like, okay, hold on. No, I'm going all in. And clearly you started to reap that reward. And now you even, took it to your own next level and now you're killing it, right? So I love that story. And again, I appreciate that because there might even be some people like me who wanted to dabble because I didn't even go fully into it because I'm like, wait, hold on a second. I'm not Timothy. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. I took full accountability. I'm not that guy. So I love that, Ty, and I appreciate that. So a kind of an area I want to pivot to now is, you kind of talked a little bit about your story, post school, right? And mind you, our demographic of our listeners are, yes, some college students as well as post college, about 5 to 10 years above us, like our age, and also 5 to 10 years below us. We also have some high school listeners, which is really cool. So shout out to you guys if you're listening. But for the people who are our age, or I should say my age, I guess I'm the only one on the podcast that's in college, but people who are my age and also even younger than me, what are some things that maybe you did back in school, or maybe the things you wish you did to set yourself up financially? Because yes, again, we love talking about the fitness and how fitness is correlated because it very much is into finance. But ultimately, too, we want to try to teach people like what kind of things can they tangibly do now at this age, at the 23s, at the 19s, at the even 17s in high school, whatever. Like, what are some things that maybe you did or you wish you did to set yourself up financially?
Yeah. So what I did was I actually got a job at a Jamba Juice. 17-year-old, got with my friends, and that really taught me the value of money because I got allowance
Yeah.
when I was middle school, even still in college, because I wanted to go get some boba every single day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know how expensive things are right now. Now you kind of understand the value of like $1. So what I recommend for anybody who's 16, 17, 20s, just get a regular job. I personally suggest doing a service job, like in the restaurant industry, because that's going to build a lot of communication skills. You can make a lot more money because your performance, you know, you get paid by your performance. It's a performance. It's an act, right? So you want to cater to your customer, and also the customer can smell if you are authentic enough, right? So that's going to test you. So I recommend getting any job. Humble yourself. Put yourself in a position where you have to grind and you hate it, and now
That's
once you get
real.
out of it, you understand it, you kind of value it. So I would recommend just getting a regular job, and because right now you have an opportunity to go on TikTok, Instagram. Yeah, if you can monetize that, great. But if you aren't capable of doing that, get a regular job. Go to, you know, Cheesecake Factory, go to Jamba Juice, go to Chipotle, and really put yourself in that position where you understand the value of money and the importance of doing that.
Yeah. No, oh my goodness. The biggest point, and I freaking love this, is you said humble yourself. And then you made a counter where, you know, there's a lot of people nowadays who can maybe start making money on the TikToks or the YouTube, which cool, you might be making good money, but you don't know maybe how to handle it. And you don't even know what that means, right? Because when you put in that work, like for example, you at Jamba Juice, Zach, you know, Zach's had a grind job. Sean had a grind job. A lot of our listeners, like the grinders, right? As well as myself. I talked about it on my solo podcast when, you know, I was being interviewed, where it was the Chipotle, right? And it wasn't the best money, but it taught me sweat equity. It's those kinds of jobs. You might not be making the big money, you might not be getting all this clout, but you're learning things that are priceless. It's character, it's tenacity, it's grit, and those kinds of things. Now, when you graduate, when I say graduate, not graduate from school, but you go into a higher level job, making even more money, you start to appreciate it more. You know what it took to make the slave dollars. Again, excuse my language, but like those kinds of things, right? So it's like, I love that you say that, because there are a lot of people who haven't really even had those kinds of experiences, and they're still complaining that they're not making enough money on YouTube or TikTok. Okay, like that's cool. Have that on the side. But if you really want to understand what that means, you need, and not many people want to do this, but you need to get humbled. That's facts, Ty. I cannot express that fully enough. That is facts. Humble yourself. So I appreciate that you said that. That's huge.
Grind
Yeah,
jobs
100%.
teach you a lot. Absolutely. A lot of those jobs, I know mine specifically, there are a couple moments in those where it really drives home, you know, man, I want to climb the ladder. I don't want to do this forever, right? So it really can light a fire under you and really give you some motivation. So, Ty, it sounded like you started off with a bit of a gamble with the mentorship, and it didn't pay off immediately, right? Said you were a little in debt and you kind of had to go back to your roots and grind, get kind of an entry level job, and claw your way back out of this $20,000 of debt. So fast forward to now, how are you doing now, and how have you structured your income? Right. So do you have one main income source? Do you have a couple? Just kind of getting back into the name of financial literacy. Can our listeners learn a little bit from you, from the lessons you learned, and what are you doing now from those lessons that you've learned?
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I am terrible at budgeting, right? I'm terrible at budgeting. And
But we're here
that's
for it.
one
Let us
thing.
know.
Yeah,
We'll talk.
exactly. And I've learned a lot from y'all. You know, I've learned a lot from also from the master classes, from the standard, everything that, you know, all the low-key millionaires are doing. I'm like, I gotta learn this, you know. But what I've been doing is making sure I track everything, right? KPIs, you making sure here's my ad spend, and it's all data. So if y'all like
Real
numbers,
quick, I apologize for our listeners. Can you explain what KPI is? Because you said that
And
twice
for
now.
me too.
yeah, KPI. Honestly, I don't really know what the acronym is, but it's
Okay.
pretty much a way to track your numbers, right? So in terms of like the sales, everyone who thinks about it is a sales, right? But when you do Facebook ads, it comes down to how much are you paying for a click? Is it $1? Is it $2? If you can read that, then you can understand, is my advertising doing well? Am I converting people? If I get a sale, did I cover all my ad spend, or did I 10x my profit?
Okay. Thank you.
So for
Yeah,
me,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
So for me, it's like able to track all my information, being able to say, okay, I'm paying let's say $60 a week, $100 a week. Let's make it easy, $100 a week, and I'm getting back $2,500 from a client. That's a huge profit margin, right? But that all started from testing and putting out money and seeing what works and what sticks.
Right.
I kind of forgot the question because I'm just rambling and I got off on a tangent. I think you were talking about what am I doing in terms of like my financing and getting to where I am. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. So do you have one main source of income, or are you kind of pulling a little bit from a lot of places? How have you structured it now?
Yeah, so my main income is coaching, and my second income right now, which is getting there, is the real estate development. So when I was doing coaching, I saved a lot of money from it. Put all my savings. That's the emergency funds. Vacation plans. Got it all set, right? So when I went into a new venture of real estate development, I got if anything fails, I can always go back to coaching and I got my emergency funds, right? So obviously now the market is very, very slow. We're in a recession right now. And, we haven't made a huge amount of profit yet. We're waiting to sell a house that we worked on. We got, when I say we, it's me and my family, me and my brother. My parents are funding all of the projects, and all we have to do is learn and implement and make things happen. So now it's just doing small projects, and I have another Instagram page where it's called project_Pham, where I document all my real estate development things where I'm learning to say, hey, this is how you do the tiles, this is how you do all the hard stuff. And in return, I get paid for the projects. If it's a small project, I get, depending on the job and how much they want to pay me per hour, it could be $5,000, just like I did within 2 weeks. 2 weeks of work, $5,000. Cool. I can use that to fund, let's say, my coaching, my advertising, or put that into my savings and my emergency funds so that I can use that for later. So real estate as well as the coaching are my two main sources of income right now.
Mm. This is good. This is really good. So I do have a question, but I want to leave that question. Hopefully I don't forget it. And if I do forget, just remind me. It's in the realm of entrepreneurship, but also coaching. So if I forget, if I'm like, hold on, what did I say? If someone can remind me, entrepreneurship/coaching. But now my question that I wanted to ask and relate to what you just said is, still again, remaining in the financial literacy aspect, are you managing this a certain way? Because you made the statement of I'm not the best at budgeting, right? But then you also talked about tracking. So are you, using certain apps or using a spreadsheet? Like, how are you able to, with your incomes, how are you able to kind of manage this and, making sure that you're paying your things on time, you're still investing, you're doing all these things, what kind of things are you able to, or what things are you using that makes you able to efficiently manage all these things?
Yeah, so the first thing in terms of coaching is I do have a spreadsheet. It shows how much I spend on ads, how much I'm converting, the percentages. So I have it all there where I know exactly how much I'm making. And then, I have my bank statement. I know when to pay it off. I know when I'm over. I'm like, okay, we got to chill on the number one is like, we'll have to chill on the budgeting, or we need to step it up and get more clients through the door, right? Now that we just got into real estate, I'm doing a lot more budgeting where you have to buy the materials, you have to pay the labor, you have to know your costs, because if you're just going into it blind, you're just gonna overpay for things, and instead of finishing the project with a huge profit margin, you're in the red, right? So understanding, and this is why I have a mentor, is he's teaching you can't just go to Home Depot and buy the same type of wood all the time. You have to have your own supplies and understand this is $1 cheaper. So why is it important? Well, if you think about square footage, that's a lot of money, right? So being able to understand, memorizing, okay, how much does everything cost, and then including labor. And this is why I'm practicing it, right? Because the end goal isn't to continue to do this by myself. I don't want to do the hard labor for years and years and years. I want to outsource this, delegate it so I can do other tasks. So if I understand how much it costs to buy materials, how much it costs to do the labor, how much time, I know how to budget that correctly so that I can delegate and say, hey, I know how to make this more efficient. I know how to make this cost effective, and I know how to make this project a lot faster.
Okay, I see. So it's really been a big learning process for you doing this first house, because this is your first, correct?
Third, actually. So
Third? Okay.
yeah,
So you're starting to get the hang of things.
yeah. So the first one we did was we did like half of the project with my mentor, his own house, right? So he taught us a little bit here and there, here and there. Then we got our own property and really learned how to renovate. And then he really hammered down, like, you gotta learn how to budget, understand the materials. I'm like, okay, I understand. Now you hammered it. Third project, it was a little bit easier. And this recent project, so this is the fourth one. It's just a small project where we're just doing some tiles, some floor, building some frames, and building an indoor kitchen. I understand. Okay, I know how much it costs, the labor, and it's a huge learning process because we're just doing this on our own. There's no mentor. If we have any questions, I can call and say, hey, FaceTime, say, hey, I need help with this. Is this correct? But now this is all my own. You gotta keep the receipts like always, making sure you track that, put it on your spreadsheet, and then come out of it like, I better be in the green after this. Or and the best thing is, like, I have the owner paying for all the materials, right? So that covers everything. So spread that all out, record it, document it, have it all out there, and show it to the world and say, hey, this is what I'm learning.
Okay. So do you think your niche in doing this is going to be renovations, or do you even want to get into building full scale houses from the ground up?
I want to build full scale homes. It's a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
Makes a lot more money. Renovations is very, very annoying in terms of every house project is different. The structure is a little bit different. The material is different. But with a new home, you kind of know, okay, how much it costs. You kind of know how much goes into the materials. You know how much labor is, and it's a lot easier because there's nothing wrong. It's all brand new. Build it the way you want to, and even though the market is not the greatest right now, right? You can still build a home, build your own forever home. I enjoy a lot more, especially with the first project I did with my mentor. It's like, man, this is nice. I don't want to go back to these old houses and make it look nice, right? You want to make it more modern. You want to make it your style. So anything you do, right? Like your style, fitness, dance, like the confidence, like you put your own personality into these homes, and people, okay, I know this is Ty's home. This is the Pham's home.
So it sounds like too what you're talking about there is almost your brand. So if you had to describe your brand in like one sentence, how would you describe that?
That's a good question. I actually thought about this. My brand is to be the most well-rounded individual in the world for the Asian community. The reason why I say that is for a lot of Asian guys or anybody who's young, they all they want to think about is making money, and it all falls through, right? You make money, you get a girl, you have a good life. But in order to be, let's say, top 1%, or be that man that I truly believe I am for Asian guy, is I want to be well-rounded. I want to be able to make money, look good, be confident, be, the Casanova, right? To be that image for guys to say, I want to be like Ty, because a lot of the social media platforms, TikTok, IG, like, you have the F boys. I don't know if you heard this. It's called the Kevin Win. The Kevin Win is pretty much the F boys for Asians, or the Jennifer Lees for the girls, the ABGs, right? I don't want that image to be me, and I don't want to present that because it's toxic, right? It's toxic. I understand where they're coming from, but I want you to be well-rounded. I want all my guys to be well-rounded to the point they have the money, they have the fitness, they have the body, they have the charisma, but they also have character.
Yeah. No, that's oh man, that's deep, and I know again it's coming from a place of honesty because again, you probably were in a position where you wish someone did this for you. but now you're paying it forward, and I love that you're doing that. So again, it comes out of passion, it comes out of, again, that confidence there, and I love that you're doing that. So I think there's a lot of guys that even I'm coming to my mind that I would love to connect you with after this call. So just remind me too after this call, just text me, hey Yinko, what were those guys you were talking about? What were the names? I'll definitely connect you, because I think those guys would really love to hear your story and kind of build with you. But in terms of what I wanted to be reminded of, I think I remembered again. It was coaching, entrepreneurship. So as we wrap up here, before I ask the three awesome questions, is in terms of you being an entrepreneur yourself, and you're also in the coaching scene. I know again it's for fitness, but coaching nonetheless. For us as FLI, now that we have our FAC, our financial accountability coaching. Again, shout out to that for our listeners. Hit us up. We're here to help. We love it. We've loved our initial clients so far. We're looking forward to expand in this area. But for entrepreneurs out there, or even people who are in the coaching space, again, like us in finance, what are the best, or what are some gems I guess you can drop on us in terms of like how you go about handling your coaching, whether it's reaching out to people organically, in whatever you want, any gem, any things you can talk about for the next maybe like 5-ish, 6-ish minutes in terms of coaching in the space that you're in. What are the best ways for someone to get into that, and how to maintain it like we are?
One of the biggest lessons that I've learned is making sure that you have an offer that really hits, right? So I'll go back into the gamers, right? I was coaching gamers at times. Like, I'll help gamers lose 10 pounds. Okay, that's great. But I didn't know what that offer is in terms of, is it irresistible? Is it different from everybody? That's why it flopped, right? So the reason why these businesses flopped is because my offer wasn't good. Like I say, in terms of fitness, like I'm a coach. I can help 5 women lose 10 pounds. So I'm like, there's dozens of coaches that do that. What makes you different? Oh, I have a certificate. I have all these things. I'm like, no one cares about that. They want to see results, right? So when I launched Asian Boss Boy, my offer was, I'm going to help Asian American men, and Asian American men is different from Asian guys, because Asian guys are referred to, China and in Asia. So their struggles are a little bit different than Asian Americans, because we have an identity issue here. We grew up differently. So that differentiates me from everybody else, where I only help Asian American guys in the US, right? Then it goes into, I'm going to help you get lean to without giving up your favorite foods, right? Rice and noodles.
Right.
So I'm like, oh my God, what? How? You can eat your favorite foods and get lean? I'm like, yeah, right. And then I have the receipts for it. So my biggest advice is making sure that you have an offer. Like, if you're in financing, if you want to be a specialist in, let's say, budgeting. And I don't know the terms, right? Be a specialist in budgeting, analyzing, taxes, or be a specialist in something, and have an irresistible offer that people say, I'd be so dumb if I didn't take this offer.
Yeah.
Right?
No, yeah, and I think the biggest thing that just connected me right there is really like defining that niche like really well, because I do remember you talking about that in the past, where you said, how can you help out Asian American men and lose weight and get fit without having them to sacrifice their favorite foods? Like that, the way you just defined that niche, and you had a really good offer. It's that niche who kind of like, yes, you're going out and you're finding them and you're trying to convert sales, but then they kind of like rise out of nowhere because you're like the only person who's doing that in that niche, or one of the, probably few people who are doing that. And you have a really good offer compared to the other people in that same niche, right? So I think this is really good, and it kind of generates some ideas that even Zach, Sean, and I can talk about with, even our market, because our market, again, is like college students. And I just, kind of gave a range of 5 to 10 years. And I love saying that. But even if we define that even more, even for us in our business, and again, for all of our listeners and their respective businesses, is defining that niche, defining that market, and making sure that now that you got that niche and that market defined, you're like one of the few who is in that market. But make sure you pass, or I guess you have the best. I'm blanking on the word. But you have the best. Hold on, I'm blanking. What was? Say the word one more time, Ty. You had the best.
The offer.
Offer. Thank you. I was on a idea train there. Offer. Thank you. You have the best offer in that niche that no one would be like, wait, hold on a second. There's literally like only 4 people doing this, and yet Ty is the best offer. I need to go with Ty. Like there's nobody else who's doing it like Ty. You know what I'm saying? Same thing for us. So I think that very much generated a lot of ideas, even for me. And again, Zach and Sean and we can talk about that. I think that's awesome. And again, for all of our listeners as well, I think that's a really big key point that Ty just hit on right there. So I appreciate that, Ty. I think that's a gem and a half. No, I'm gonna keep it a buck. That's a gem and a half. That's real. So I love that. But yeah, I mean, as we wrap up here, I can tell, Zach, you got a good question. I can tell you.
I do. Just before you get into our final three here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely. So delivering a quality product in removing yourself from the crowd by delivering something that stands out is definitely a way to attract customers. Absolutely. So that's with your main hustle, right, Ty? That's kind of your coaching. That's your bread and butter is what it seems like. You said you're on your third house. So is there anything that our listeners could learn from you if they are trying to get into real estate themselves? Are there any lessons or tips you'd want to give someone who maybe are just trying to get into real estate, getting into their first house, maybe haven't done a deal yet, but they've been kind of dipping their toes in the water, learning a little bit about it and want to get involved?
Get a mentor. I think that's the biggest thing that anybody can do in anything, right? Real estate, coaching. I believe having a mentor is really helpful. You can go on YouTube and learn this on your own, but let's be honest, if you have hands-on experience, a person who's been in the business for 40, 50 years, you can't beat that. I'm nowhere near expert, even though this is my third or fourth project. I'm still learning. I come into the project like, cool. What do we need to do? We need a problem solve. I'm no expert. I have to YouTube it. I have to ask my mentor. I have to FaceTime and say, hey, what kind of product do we need? Like, so in terms of real estate, follow me on IG, Pham_project or project_Pham, where I show everything I'm doing. And I'm still learning, and I'm transparent about it. Like, hey, today we're doing this kind of deal in terms of the tiles, the floors. There's problems. We messed up here. Being very transparent, showing that a person that has no experience can still do it. You just gotta be willing to learn.
Yeah. No, and okay, I love just hearing the way you speak because there's so many there's a main theme and there's a main just gem that I like picking out. So Ty, I appreciate you. But for our listeners as well, I think, and it's so interesting because one of our clients, or I guess I can say, yeah, one of our clients that I actually just met with recently, the biggest thing he's expressed to me, he's like, Yinka, there's a reason I partook in FAC. It's because I know that you guys have more knowledge in this space than I have, and I would rather cut through doing it myself and taking all this time and kind of go with someone who's more knowledgeable than I am in this space, right? And just expedite it, right? So by no means are we 40 and 50 years into the space. By no means are we even above 30 years old. So clearly we're not in that 40, 50 range. But what I am saying is, even to what you did, you paid someone and you probably got way more in value than what you paid because you just cut through so much time that they went through, and they cut the BS and they say, this is what works, this is what doesn't, and maybe whatever you paid, you got 10x that, right? So I think, again, another really good general theme here is for people who are maybe on the edge of investing in themselves. And when I say in themselves, I mean in resources like a course, like a mentor, in a program. You need to understand that, okay, it might have a quote unquote high ticket price. You have to understand how much went into that you're going to be saving in terms of what you're going to be getting in value for what you paid for. So that is huge. And again, I literally just had, one of our clients tell me that is that's exactly why I joined, because you made it super simple and you cut through all the time I had to do, spend reading, listening to podcasts and talking to mentors, through your mentorship or through your program. I got it and it's perfect. Right. So I think that's awesome. And I think that's a really good piece of advice for a lot of the listeners. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, the last three questions, again, super easy. And we'll really just start off with the first one in terms of, 2022, we have less than, it's December 1st. We have a month left. It's crazy. And what we like to ask our guests is that in terms of a goal that you want to execute, right? Or even you want to start. And the way I mean that is what is one goal that you're just trying to finish up? One month left, 4 weeks left. I need to wrap this goal up. Or before 2023, or the opposite to that is, what is one goal you're looking forward to embark on in 2023? Just expand upon one goal that you want to have finish, or one goal you want to start, again, by the end of 2023 or beginning of 2023.
I love this one because doesn't have anything to do with fitness or finance. All right. So the biggest goal for me is to put myself out there to find that significant other. And to go back to expediting coaches and mentorship, I embarked on a dating course. or a dating coach because I wanted to get better at it, right?
That's awesome.
You can go on YouTube and learn all these things. I'm like, well, I technically know how to do it, but if I pay to pay attention, think about how much I can get from that course and how much I leveled up then. So over the course of, and my goal was to go on 5 quality dates before the end of the year. And when I started this, it was probably like in September. I'm only on like day 2 or 3, which is okay. I just want quality time to understand who I want to be with. Like Zach, you have your new wife, so you understand this, right? So find that forever person. That's what I'm trying to find. And I'm still trying to learn. And every time I go on these dates, I learn a little bit more about myself. So going to 2023, I want to go on more dates, approach more women. I want to be in a committed relationship, right? That's my goal. So, and from there, who knows? And this is when you're embarking on a journey, and you are surrounded by guys and entrepreneurs is great, but also you want that feminine touch where they kind of understand you, they support you. So that's what I'm looking for. I've been single for 10 years. So I really want to done all this self-development, done all this work in terms of fitness, finances, insecurities, emotional damage, the trauma. Like I'm ready, so I want to give that value to not only to the guys, but also to the woman that really appreciates me.
Yeah. No, that's real. Having that kind of feminine energy on your entrepreneurship, just like grind is really nice. It's really, really nice. And I can speak to that. But in terms of you executing on that, I know you, Ty, like you are going to be the kind of guy who takes that to the next level, like you did socially. You talked about that in Miami. Your fitness, your real estate. This is something I know you're going to execute on. You're going to kill it. So I'm looking forward to see who Mrs. Pham is in 2023. Super excited for that. But in terms of the second question, for our listeners, it doesn't just have to be finance. It can really be in any space you want to, kind of recommend this book. So the question is, what is one book, whether it is fitness, whether it is real estate, whether it is, finance, whatever it is, any book, what is one book you would recommend to our listeners? Like, hey, you need to read this.
I recommend the $100 million offer from Alex Hormozi.
Yeah.
That really changed my life. And I'm not really an avid reader, which is something that I want to work on as well. But that was one book that I took away and really implemented. There's a lot of books that go into detail, too much detail, and there's too many pages. This one kept this short and sweet, and I implemented it, practiced it, tested this. So anybody who's getting into business, who are looking to getting a really good offer, irresistible offer, and it's cheap to buy, do that.
Man, that book is fire. And I know I haven't fully finished it just yet. It's on my rotation at the moment. And I know Joe and Hafiz, they really put me onto that book in Phoenix. But something about Hormozi, I've been really tapping in. Like Hormozi, he and I love the way he starts. He says, he starts all of his content like, I have nothing to sell you. He's just being honest. He's being transparent. But he drops gems because he just wants to help people. And he's not trying to collect money or he's not even really trying to convert them to sales. Because if like his business, he's working on I think acquisition.com. He's working with fully online businesses who are making in millions per year, but he wants to bring that to the multi-million, right? So he doesn't need anybody like us to try to get that. No, he just wants to provide value. So I love Alex. And just like, as you mentioned with his book, he's the type of guy who he cuts through the BS and he gives you the value. So that book is fire. I'm yet to finish it. And even just implementing some of the things he talks about in FLI or, in future ventures, because he has that little formula of, again, I don't remember off the top of my head, but it just provides the most value to your customer. And it's an offer they cannot refuse, right? So I love that. It's a great book, great recommendation. So again, for our listeners out there, it's the $100 million offer by Alex Hormozi, fire book, purple color, purple cover. I think at one point it was like $1 on Amazon. I don't know if that's true anymore, but fire book. And then last question, the easiest of them all. And I know you dropped a couple of the ats a little earlier, but just where can our listeners find you? I know a lot of listeners most likely resonated with a lot of your fire stories. Again, might they want to join your program? Might they want to connect with you? What have you? Where can our followers find you in terms of maybe Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever you would like? You can plug whatever you'd like. Where can our followers connect with you?
Yeah, so my Instagram is at It's Ty Pham, so ITSTAIPHAM on Instagram and on TikTok. And anybody who's interested in the real estate development side, it's project_Pham. And if you want to reach out to me, send me a DM and we'll make it happen. For me, in terms of client acquisitions, I like to understand more about the person before I say, hey, this is my product. I want to give you the best service that I can provide and really build a connection because, it's not about having clients, it's about building community. I want my Asian American brothers to really shine. So that's my whole goal. That's my message. So follow me at It's Thai Pham on Instagram. I'm mostly active on there. So send me a DM if you want any help.
That's awesome. We appreciate you. Again, I did take note, but even too, if you want to remind me, I have a couple guys that would love to connect. I already know, even though they don't know you yet, because they know the kind of people that I'm surrounding myself by. Again, people like Ty. I know that when I put them on with you, that they're going to want to connect and they're going to want to take their fitness, even their personality and their social skills to the next level, which again, you have most certainly done for yourself. So thank you again, Ty. We appreciate you. Sean, if any last questions, you can drop them. If not, where can our followers find you?
Absolutely. You can find me at Sean Lacey 7 on all social media platforms, and then check me out on LinkedIn too at Sean Lacey. And then lastly, check out luxuryautodetailing.com or luxuryautodetailingohio.com and also my social media. And then as always, check out On the Fly or thefli.net and On the Fly podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And Ty, once again, we appreciate you taking the time to join us today. Thank you for all the great stories you told, the knowledge you shared, and I can't wait to hear feedback from our listeners of what they gained from this podcast. So we appreciate your time.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Yeah, 100%. Zach, where can our listeners find you?
You can find me at Zachary Owen on LinkedIn. You can also find my FAC page on thefli.net. Check that out. Really excited to start that. Ty, as well, just like Sean said, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Appreciate all the knowledge you've shared. And like Sean, I can't wait to see what our listeners say about this video. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah. No, 100%. Again, Ty, it's been great. Again, for our listeners, you can find me at really just Ole Inca Famadu on LinkedIn. I don't have a ton of social media. I think our listeners probably know that by now. But for any new listeners, it's just if you look up Famadu on LinkedIn, you'll probably find me. But again, you can find that on our website as well at www.thefli.net. But yeah, no, I mean, just like Zach mentioned, we talked about FAC. We mentioned a couple clients earlier. FAC, just like what Ty just mentioned, it's really just to help people and build relationships, community. Because again, like I mentioned earlier, when one of our clients just mentioned, "Hey, I did this because I trust you and I know it's gonna, expedite it," and we even had fun doing it. I don't know if I told Sean or Zach after one of the FAC sessions, me and my client, we played some FIFA. Like it was fun. It was fun. We got through the business, but then we had fun after. We built that relationship, we built that community, and I love it. It's super fun. And again, you're making strides to make people better. So I love that, and I know that's exactly what Ty is doing. That's exactly why we had Ty on this podcast tonight, because we only have all-stars on this podcast. So Ty, again, we appreciate you. Absolutely looking forward to even maybe bring you back onto a future episode just to hear all the goals that you crushed in 2023 and in the years to come. And man, yeah, I'm super excited for your growth and our growth as a whole. So again, Ty, ultimately, we appreciate you. We thank you. And again, for our listeners who made it this far, we thank you as well, because without you, what would we be, right? Just people talking to the abyss. No, we're talking to our amazing listeners who are very much, helping us grow and giving us a place to want to provide value. So again, we appreciate you. And again, this has been On the Fly Podcast, a Financial Literacy Institute podcast. Thank you.